How's it going, everybody? Welcome into Smashville Live here on ESPN 1025 The Game. Chase McCabe, Willy Daunic here with you, and joined by Predators forward Eeli, Tolvanen, Ryan Johansen going to join at the bottom of the hour. Hope you're having a happy and safe Wednesday. Got some storms coming through the area, so hope everybody is okay. But we're excited to be here again. You can watch us this year on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook, wherever you like to stream content. You can check it out. We're on Twitter as well. Willy, Eeli, welcome in. Good to see you guys.
Hey, it's good to see you.
So, Eeli, as you guys continue this road trip, which it feels like a year, and I know that it's different now because you're just hanging out in a hotel room. How's it been so far from that aspect?
It actually hasn't been that bad. I mean, we're in Florida. It's such a nice weather. You can walk on the beach. I mean, there's still stuff to do. I mean, we have a good players' lounge. We have some poker tournaments, and just there's always something going on.
So who's the best? Who's the best at cards and playing games?
I think Joey's been winning the most, so I think he's up there.
That makes sense. So what's this been like for you? Because things have obviously, now that you're playing every day, you found your spot on the power play, and of course in 5-on-5, and it seems to be working out well. And I know that has to help your confidence.
Oh yeah, it's big. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, just past couple of years playing in Milwaukee, and just hoping that one day I can be here for good. And right now, I mean, just try to soak it in and enjoy every moment. And I mean, it's been nice to be playing a lot and playing with the good players. I mean, the results hasn't been as good as we want, but I mean, the last game was really good from the team.
Willy?
Well, Eeli, I wanted to ask you about. First of all, you had a great win over Tampa. That had to feel really good because you played a number of games against them. They're a great team. But to be able to break through and get a win, especially under the circumstances you guys are in, with some guys banged up, a lot of guys out of the lineup. So it's always nice to win when you're leaving a city and going on to the next city, and you get on the plane and you got 2 points. How did that one feel?
Oh, it was unreal. I mean, we talked about before the game that just go out there and let's do our best. I mean, it's going to be easier to come here in Fort Lauderdale and enjoy the day off and all that. So I think that was a big factor and a big win. I mean, there's a lot of new faces, a lot of young guys. I play with them in Milwaukee, and they're stepping up and doing a really good job. And I mean, of course, you see Pex on net, and he's doing an unbelievable job every night. So it's been a lot of good things, and it's been a lot of fun.
That time that you spent in Milwaukee, as you mentioned, you guys were a dominating team last year. You guys are used to winning every night, and now you guys are learning how to do it at this level. And it seems like with each passing game, with the more you guys play together, and yourself individually, you're seeing progress. The more you play, the more you get experience. You're learning the formula of what it takes to win. So how big is the jump in your estimation, now that you've played a few games at the AHL and you're getting more experience here? How big is that jump from the AHL to the NHL?
I mean, it's a big jump, of course. I mean, here all the players are really good players. They're best players in the world. So it's a big jump. But I mean, the job they do in Milwaukee is preferring all the young guys to come up here and just come here and try to do the same thing that you've done there. So I think it's pretty easy to translate. But I mean, like I said, it's a big jump. I mean, you have to do your best every night. You can't make mistakes. So I mean, those little things it matters here.
Along those lines, Eeli, I remember having a conversation a few years ago. You had made your debut, but talking to Philip Forsberg, because he kind of went through the same thing, that he made his debut and he needed a little more seasoning, so he went to Milwaukee. And obviously you want to be in the NHL, but he kind of talked to me through his process and how he felt that you would be going through the same thing. Now that you're here and you've been able to get to know him and the others on your team, have you kind of felt that way? Have you kind of gone through like, yeah, it stunk not being in the NHL, but I feel so much better now, and I feel like I understand the game more. Have you guys talked about that stuff at all?
Oh, for sure. I mean, personally, I feel much better than a couple of years ago when I make my debut. I think those couple of years in Milwaukee helped me a lot as a player and as a kid too. I was a young guy live by myself in Milwaukee, and I mean, it's not easy to translate. And I mean, just in those years, I think my game grew a lot. I mean, defensive side of my game is way better, more physical, and I think they did a really good job down there. And it's actually fun to see. Like there's, like you said, Phil's gone to pad. All the Finns I know, Juice, Pex, Yossi, everybody's been in Milwaukee. I think that's kind of a cool process. Everybody goes through the Milwaukee train, and I mean, it pays off.
I want to ask you, Eeli, to wind the clock back a little further. When you're growing up in Finland, and you just mentioned a lot of guys that I'm sure you watch play that you're playing with now, like Pekka and guys like that. They're household names, superstars. And you made the decision when you were a teenager to come over and play here. I'm sure you had an option of playing in Finland, when you're 15, you're 16, but you come over to the USHL. Tell me what went into that decision. Why did you decide to do that?
I think my both brothers played junior hockey in US, and my dad's actually a principal in the school, so that was the one key factor to learn the language and just the lifestyle here. And I think it was just the best fit for me to come over here, learn the small ice game, and just learn the culture, learn the language. And I mean, if you do that when you're a kid, it's easier than when you turn pro. You know the language, you know the culture, you know everything. So I think that was a key factor. And then I was on that point, I was planning on going to college, but then that never happened. So I think it was just something that I wanted to do when I was a young guy, like come over. And I've seen some games on the USHL, and it was a great league. And looking back for now, like playing USHL for 2 years, it was a lot of fun, and it was a great league.
I remember Pekka telling us a story when he was first sent to Milwaukee. He had never been over here, and he talked about all the things that he needed some guidance on. Kevin Klein was his roommate, he said, and he said it hadn't been for him, he really would have had some trouble just making sure he had ways of getting to the rink and things like that. So it was interesting to hear you say, when you do it a little bit earlier, maybe when you're in school age, did you have a little better support system? How was your English when you got there? Did you learn some?
I actually didn't speak much English when I got here when I was 15, and yeah, I think it was easier. I had a roommate, and we went to school together. We had a bunch of guys going to the same school, so we were in every class together. And then it was just a great fit. You go to school in the morning, you go to practice afternoon, and then you play games. And I mean, that was fun. And when I went to Milwaukee my first year, and I think everything was so much easier. I just went there, and I kind of knew everything that I knew everything was coming, and it was way easier than we had at that point. We had one Finn there, and he helped me with like apartments and all the other stuff.
Chase McCabe, Willy Daunic, Eeli Tolvanen here with you on Smashville Live. And speaking of Milwaukee, a lot of your former teammates in Milwaukee are now your current teammates here in Nashville, as we've seen the influx of the young ones, and they've been impressive so far. So what has that been like, even though you're right there and classified as a rookie, but you obviously have more games under your belt? What has that process been like for them and trying to help them go through it?
Oh, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, we had a great team last year, and all the young guys, they're a really good group of guys. We hang out a lot last year, and now being here in Nashville and with the same guys, so it's been a lot of fun. I mean, like you said, I've had a couple more games than them, but I mean, I just try to teach them as much as I can, and they teach me still. And it's just a great group of young guys. I mean, I always like to be around those guys.
Eeli, we've talked a lot about your shot. When you were drafted, the day that you were drafted, that was the thing that people were talking about. Hey, this guy can really shoot. And of course, not long after that, we're watching you in the Olympics, and we're watching you put up these great numbers in the KHL. I'm curious, when you were growing up learning how to play, who taught you how to shoot? How do you learn how to be a good shooter?
I think it's my dad and my brothers, to be honest. We had a great backyard setup, and my oldest brother was a forward, and then the middle one was a goalie. So we always played street hockey after school or before practice or after practice. So it was just a lot of games backyard, and then we had all these competitions. We were shooting pucks every summer, like 500 pucks every day, and just trying to do something fun with it. And I mean, when I was probably like 13 years old, I noticed that it's one of my strengths. So since that, I've been shooting a lot of pucks and just try to work on it and improve it. And I mean, it's one thing I'm good at, so I think that's fun practice too.
Well, Chase is a big baseball fan, and I grew up a pitcher. I can appreciate, a pitcher in baseball, you change speeds, right? You want to give, the hitters different looks. Just like a shooter in hockey, you got to give the goalie different looks. That's something that looks like you've put in a lot of time because your shot's not the same. You have different types of shots. You've now scored on a different variety of them. So was there a coach or anybody, or was it the same people, your dad, your brother, that started teaching you the importance of that?
Yeah, it was just me and my brothers. And when I was a little kid, I watched a lot of YouTube highlights, and I was one of those fanboy, like watching hockey every night and looking at like Ovechkin scoring in NHL or the Finnish guy scoring in NHL. And then I went back out and tried to do the same things, and just I just tried to be that like them. And I mean, that was just the one thing. I shoot the pucks after every practice, before practice, and I think there was a lot of work. And then of course my brothers too. Like I said, middle one is the goalie, so he told me that like if you can fake it and shoot it, and it's gonna be hard for the goalie. So I think big thanks for those guys too, though. So like they helped me a lot when I was a kid.
As we talked about earlier, the defensive part of your game, you feel more comfortable with that. What are some things that you really felt like you needed to work on that now feel more natural to you that maybe weren't there the first time around when you were playing in the NHL?
I think just overall my defensive game. I mean, when I came over from the KHL, I was kind of like it's offense guy and didn't care about much about defense. And now, like being here this year, if you can't play defense, you can't play. I mean, it's a one big area. You have to be a good defensive zone, and I think been working a lot that in Milwaukee, and then just like blocking shots, the little things that you can be better at, and then coach gonna trust you. And I think those little things that if you can just getting better every day and just work on those things, then you're gonna get more ice time. You're gonna get more opportunities too.
Well, it's good to have you on tonight. We're going to do another segment here with you, and then your teammate Ryan Johansen will join at the bottom of the hour. It is Smashville Live, presented by New Amsterdam Vodka, Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue, and Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. We'll have more with Preds forward Eeli Tolvanen when we come back here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Famous comedian George Burns once said, "I love to sing and I love to drink scotch. Most people would rather hear me drink scotch." Well, I love scotch too, George, and that's why I'm heading on over to Red Spirits and Wine for Red's annual Malt Madness sale. Throughout the entire month of March, every bottle of